Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Boys and girls, Timothy and myself, Thomas, are here to bring you another episode of Tim and Tom's Film Night. Today we have something truly despicable for you all. Haha, no, we're talking about the latest installment in one of our favorite animated franchises, Despicable Me 4-inch. Now, Timothy, you've had some time to digest this film. What do you think?
Well, Thomas, I must say that I found it decent enough. It wasn't a masterpiece like the first one, but it was entertaining enough for a Sunday afternoon. The animation has improved, and the new villain, Maxime Le Mal, was quite a fun addition to the franchise.
Decent? You call this decent? I thought it was surely fantastic. It brought back so many nostalgic feelings from the first films. Yet it still managed to feel fresh and modern. The humor was on point. And the new characters, like Poppy and her family, were a breath of fresh air.
Fresh air. I found them. Well, frankly, they were just copies of other popular animated teenage protagonists we've seen in countless films before. Nothing unique or original about them, in my humble opinion. And as for the humor, it was a bit too crass and crude at times, not suitable for children, I dare say.
Crude? You mean hilarious? It's an animated film, Timothy, not a bloody Shakespearean tragedy. People want to laugh, and laugh they will when they see the antics of these lovable villains. And as for Poppy being a copy, sheesh, have you ever heard of everything has been done before? She's her own character with her own quirks and charm, something I think you might need to learn a bit more about yourself.
Quirks, charm, you just Thomas. Anyway, let's not bicker about this any further. What do you think about the new villain, Maxime Le Mal? He seemed quite menacing in the trailers.
Well, he wasn't exactly the greatest villain ever created, but he did manage to raise a few eyebrows and some chuckles along the way. His plan, while not entirely original, was executed well enough to keep the film moving at a decent pace. And his transformation into a cockroach-human hybrid, I mean, who hasn't fantasized about that?
Fantasize, Tom, please. This isn't a horror movie. It's a kids' animated comedy. But moving on, how did you feel about the new Megamining initiative? It seemed quite innovative, if I may say so myself.
Innovative. They stole the idea from that superhero show you watch, the one with the talking raccoon and the tree man. No, seriously. I thought it was an interesting addition to the franchise, although I wish they had given them more screen time to develop their characters a bit more.
Develop. We're talking about super-powered minions here, Tom, not Hamlet. Besides, the film's focus is on Gru and his family, not some GG-created sidekicks. Now, let's not argue about the details and just enjoy the movie for what it is. A lighthearted, family-friendly summer blockbuster that will keep everyone entertained.
Lighthearted? It had some rather dark themes, if you pay attention, but I digress. So, Timothy, overall, would you recommend Despicable Me 4-inch to our viewers?
Well, Tom, as much as I would like to agree with you, I must say that while there were some moments of levity, the film does tackle some rather serious subjects such as family dynamics and the consequences of our actions. However, if we're talking about pure entertainment value, then yes, I would recommend it to those who are fans of the franchise or just want a lighthearted, laughter-filled movie night with their loved ones. Just maybe not for those who are looking for a deep philosophical masterpiece, as this film is far from it. As for me personally, I found myself chuckling more often than outright bursting into laughter, but that could be due to my advanced age and slightly different sense of humor compared to the target audience. However, the animation did impress, the soundtrack was catchy, and the voice acting was top-notch, especially by Steve Carell and Kristen Wiig. So, if you're in need of a mindless summer blockbuster to take your mind off of reality for a bit, then Despicable Me 4-inch might just be the ticket. And with that, I guess we should wrap up today's episode. Thomas, do you have any interesting trivia or behind-the-scenes stories about the making of this film?
Oh, you mean like how the character of Poppy was actually inspired by a real-life female villain? Her rebellious nature and love for chaos are a nod to her namesake, the infamous American outlaw, known as the Bandit Queen. And do you know that the voice actor who played the Principal Belschlecht is actually fluent in German, adding a nice touch of authenticity to his character's Germanic name? But seriously, folks, there are indeed some interesting tidbits about the making of Despicable Me. For instance, did you know that the animators had a blast creating the cockroach-human hybrid transformations? They spent countless hours perfecting every creepy-crawly detail, from the unnervingly realistic movement to the disgusting sound effects. And speaking of sounds, the sound design team deserves an Oscar for their work on this film. The chilling cackles of Maxime Le Mal and his minions are sure to give you nightmares. But perhaps my favorite behind-the-scenes story is about the making of the film's most iconic scene where Gru Jr. transforms into a human cockroach hybrid. The special effects team spent weeks perfecting the CG for this gruesome transformation, and according to the rumors, they even had a few on-set emergencies with some of the crew members accidentally transforming themselves into insects. Luckily, Timothy's homemade remedy of crushed basil leaves mixed with honey seemed to work wonders in reversing the effects. So, what do you think, Tim? Are you ready to unleash your inner villain and, dive into the fascinating world of Despicable Me 4?
Well, Thomas, as much as I enjoy your colorful narratives and penchant for trivia, let's focus on the film itself. Despicable Me 4-inch follows the tried and true formula of its predecessors, blending humor with heartfelt moments to create a lighthearted, family-friendly adventure. While some might argue that it doesn't break any new ground in terms of storytelling, it's exactly this familiarity that makes it so appealing. The plot is predictable but engaging enough to keep viewers entertained throughout the film's runtime.
Now,
let's talk about the characters.
Steve Carell reprises his role as Gru,
and he continues to prove why he's become synonymous with the lovable antagonist. His evolution from a selfish villain to a devoted father is both touching and comedic, thanks in part to the chemistry he shares with his co-stars, particularly Kristen Wiig's character, Lucy. Speaking of Wiig, she brings an endearing vulnerability to the strong-willed character of Lucy, adding depth to her otherwise brash exterior. The minions, though not given as much screen time as in previous installments, still managed to steal the show with their signature slapstick humor and unwavering loyalty to Gru. The new additions to the cast, such as Poppy, played by the talented Chloe Fineman, bring fresh energy to the franchise and help breathe some much-needed life into the formulaic plot. However, I must say that I found the villain, Maxime Le Mal, played by Stephen Colbert, rather one-dimensional. While he does have a tragic backstory that attempts to humanize him, his over-the-top villainy and quest for vengeance felt cliche at times. That being said, it's important to remember that this film is aimed at younger audiences who might not be bothered by these tropes. In conclusion, Despicable Me 4 inches of fun, albeit formulaic addition to the franchise. While it may not break any ground in terms of originality or character development, its charismatic cast and colorful animation make for an enjoyable, family-friendly flick that will leave you chuckling throughout. So, Thomas, what's your take on the film's direction and overall message?
Well, Timothy, I must admit that you've hit the nail on the head with your assessment of Despicable Me 4. The film does indeed lean heavily on familiar tropes and, cliches. But at its core, it's a fun-filled adventure designed to entertain audiences, both young and old. As for the direction, I found that director Chris Renaud and co-director Patrick Delage did an admirable job of balancing humor, action, and heartfelt moments. The visuals are visually stunning, with vibrant colors and immersive environments that transport you into the world of the film. The animators deserve praise for bringing the minions' antics to life, especially during their iconic yodel fun dance sequence that had me in... Let's talk about the cast. Steve Carell returns as Gru, and, effortlessly transitioning between scenes of comedic chaos and moments of genuine emotion. His chemistry with Kristen Wiig's Lucy is appreciable, and their banter-filled exchanges are a highlight of the film. The supporting cast, including Pierre Coffin as the Minions, Joey King as Margot, Miranda Cosgrove as Marla, and Sofia Vergara as Gru's love interest, all deliver strong performances that add depth to their respective characters. Special mention should go to Stephen Colbert, who brings a much-needed touch of menace and levity to the role of Maxime Le Mal. The film's primary antagonist, while his motivations may be predictable, his over-the-top villainy is precisely what makes him so entertaining. In terms of the overall message, Despicable Me 4-inch continues its predecessor's tradition of promoting themes of family, friendship, and selflessness. Through Gru's journey from self-centered villain to loving father, we see how unconditional love can transform even the most hardened hearts. The film also subtly tackles issues such as acceptance and embracing one's differences, something that resonates with audiences of all ages. So, Timothy, what do you think? Did Despicable Me 4-inch manage to surpass your expectations as a follow-up to the beloved franchise? And how do you see its cultural impact on children and families alike?
Well, Thomas, I must admit that while Despicable Me 4-inch doesn't reinvent the wheel when it comes to animated family films, it does manage to deliver enjoyable, albeit formulaic, movie-going experience. The film's relatable characters and heartwarming storyline make it appealing to both children and adults alike. As for its cultural impact, I believe that the franchise has had a significant influence on popular culture, especially among younger audiences. The Minions have become iconic figures, inspiring countless merchandise and even their own spin-off series, Minions: The Rise of Gru. The movie's themes of family, friendship, and self-acceptance resonate with viewers of all ages, teaching valuable lessons about the importance of love and understanding. Additionally, the film's use of humor, particularly slapstick comedy and visual gags, has undoubtedly influenced contemporary animated filmmaking. Overall, while Despicable Me 4-inch may not be a groundbreaking addition to the franchise, its enduring popularity and cultural impact speak volumes about its appeal and resonance with audiences worldwide. So, Thomas, do you agree with my assessment? What are your thoughts on the film's cultural impact and its place in the animated landscape?
Well, Timothy, while I do agree with some of your points regarding Despicable Me 4-inch being formulaic and perhaps not revolutionizing animation as a whole, I still found it to be an enjoyable film that successfully balances humor, action, and heartwarming moments. The cast, both returning and new, bring their prime game to their respective roles, making the movie truly memorable. As for the cultural impact, it's undeniable that the franchise has had a significant influence on popular culture, with the Minions becoming iconic figures in their own right. The film's themes of family and self-acceptance resonate with audiences of all ages, making Despicable Me a beloved franchise for generations to come. In conclusion, while Despicable Me 4-inch might not be the most groundbreaking addition to animated cinema, it still manages to deliver an entertaining and heartfelt adventure that both longtime fans and newcomers alike can appreciate. So, dear viewers, what did you think of our spoiler-filled discussion? Did we convince you to give Despicable Me 4-inch a chance? Let us know in the comments section below. Remember to subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, and share this video with your friends and family who love animated films as much as we do. Until next time, farewell, and don't forget to stay mischievous.